Hello and welcome to turn 6 of GMT's Wing Leader Eagles 43 to 45. The Brimacombe Wood designer published by GMT. This is the Schlachtflieger scenario. And quite a tense situation here. Last turn we had the German fighter sweep here, just trying to reconsolidate off the back of spotting this broken Lavochkin, or just off camera, a broken Lavochkin squadron, and now they're kind of in a position to be able to intercept these Yak squadrons here, which have just arrived on station on their vectors. We have two Russian squadrons here heading towards the Ju-87s here, who are preparing to start their bombing run. Meanwhile, we have a Lavochkin squadron here which intercepted some Henschel anti-tank light bombers. Didn't do amazingly well, caused a loss, but ended up being disrupted because they're green. So yeah, it's kind of in the balance. So let's crack on with the tallying. So for tallying, we do Raiders first, of course, and we have the two 109s here. And I think it's safe to say that we should really try and deal with these Yaks rather than try and possibly spot the interceptors over here, or possibly the flight that's coming in here as well. This will allow the Germans to see what the Soviet fighters are going to do, and to either follow them down or or look for other targets anyway. So we'll look for a roll here, and this is beyond the cloud. The cloud actually finishes here. So with one space and them being veteran flights, this should be completely straightforward. And it is with a 4. So we'll try and divvy them up really. So N will have spotted Q, and P, which was spotting this broken Lavochkin squadron, will pull back that tally here from further off the board because it's a broken squadron, and we will do the same thing here to spot, so it's pretty much automatic. So yeah, that gives that tally onto R. Whoops. Onto R. There we go. Right, so that's the Germans, the German fighters. So we're back to the Soviets, and we have the Lavochkin here, which I don't see why they would change from what they're doing at the moment. So pursuing this bomber, so we'll keep the tally it has. Going up, we have the Yaks here. So this Yak, so it's kind of a decision now. Do they want to pursue the bombers this direction? Do they want to engage the 109Gs? They can spot the 109Gs but still move across here. So I think they'll do that, and I think Q will try and spot its adversary here. The Yaks, this Yak is not a green but not a veteran, so it could fail on a 1. So we'll do that. That's a 6, so that's fine. So mutual spotting here, and Q, their tally markers are actually the vectors here. So spotted by Q here, and the same with P, although this is a green, R is a green, so therefore it's a 1 or a 2 would fail. That doesn't fail either, so 2 6s there. So the R ends up a tally onto P. Right. And this Lavochkin, 1 2 3 4, attempt to find that 109G. Why not? It is a veteran, so It is a veteran. It should also, I thought, have the expert. It seems to be transferred. Just looking at the displays there. Let me check that. So of course I was looking at the German P here, not the Soviet P, which is the P39 here, and that's correct. This is just a veteran. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so it needs a 5 or a 6, but it is a veteran, so it's a 4, 5, or 6 to spot. This will be interesting if it does spot, and it does. Okay, so that flight over here, N, we'll remove the vector and we'll apply it to P. Okay, that's pretty much dragged that into the battle quite early. Elsewhere we have the Yak 3 here, which is A here, and that that tally is on. Where are we? Where is A's tally? Should be on the T, I believe. Yeah, there we are. So it has tallied T. P, however, hasn't tallied anybody, so we're going to tally U, I think, and that's 1, but he's a veteran, so that should be automatic, but we'll roll anyway. Yeah, so that's spotted. So P's tally goes on U. Right, so they should be well set up for the ensuing combat. That's all the tally, so we'll then move on to the movement phase. So the movement phase, again, as usual, bombers will go first, and the FW-190s are at the lowest level, so they move on. Now the Henschels are the next to move, and we have these Henschels who we would like to strafe here, so I think we should move the Henschels here and here, and they should have dive markers on them. Just removing that wing display just quickly. So they have dive markers. Okay. And of course V moved, so therefore M, which has the tally, can follow, and possibly 1, 2, we do a 3 here, and then we dive with 4, that should give us an out of the sun bonus, because we spent 2 movement points here, and has a dive marker as well. So that should be a bounce, I think. Yeah, because nobody's tallied it, so that should give us what we need for a bounce. Okay, so that's those bombers. The next bombers are the Ju-87s. The Stukas up here. So we're looking to send the Stukas against the troops, and the Fokker-Wulfs and the Henschels against the tanks here. So we will still move on 2 spots with U. That will mean P, which has the tally, would move. I think it's still 1. The P39 0 to 5. That is 5 altitude, so it's still only 1 to climb. So that's 1 with a climb marker. Where are we? 1, 2, 3. So it does intercept the Stuka just before it starts diving. Dive bombing would be straight down, so that's why they're still staying at that level. T moves 2 as well, and of course we'll do the same thing here. 1, 2 for the Yak 3. So there'll be some proper interceptions here of these Stukas, and see how those work out. Right, So that's bombers done. So now it's alerted fighters, which they all are alerted. So initiative order first, and it's the lowest to go first. So actually, I think the lowest here is this broken 109 flight here, which will just move on. And we may remove him this turn. He'll allow him to escape. Next we have our Yak 9s here, our pair of squadrons here. So I think I want them to try and pursue here. So they'll actually go away from the 109s and well, yeah, that will mean that the 109Gs will attack them. But rather than engage up here while these bombers are coming in, I'd rather they were down this way. So yeah, with R we will move one. Oh, we've got the barrage, haven't we? Yeah, that's tricky. And possibly the idea is actually to fly into this cloud as well to try and shake the 109Gs off anyway. So yeah, we'll have to go through the barrage. So 1, 2, 3, but there will be the barrage attack on the Yak here. I'll sort that out. Yeah, we'll actually do that at the end of movement. So and this will stop circling, and I think we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 with a dive, of course, and it will have a flak attack against it. And this means that at least the flak also will get the 109Gs if possible. It's possible, certainly for this unit here. Okay, so with R moving, P can then move. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's a dive in, and it can't quite get the out of the sun. It doesn't quite have the movement to do that. N, however, going after Q is going to be a bit slow. So 1, take the dive off. 1, 2, flip the other direction. 2, 3. You don't want to dive because you don't want to go into the barrage. Yeah. Let's get rid of these extraneous counters. Yeah, so the G is following up, trying to keep up with the Q, but avoid the barrage. But it gets him in a good position anyway. And of course, N is actually spotted by, so P is actually spotted by N, so N will move as well. 1, 2, 3 here to try and get into the fight. Right, do we have anybody left to move? Just our broken squadrons here. And do we have another broken squadron? Yes. Our 109G here. So they're clearing out of the way. And, yep, sorry, that was slightly off camera. So that 109 squadron's going home as well. As far as combat goes, I think we have 4. Yeah, so let's just have a look at this. We've got this one here, so it's the dive from the Lavochkin out of the sun on the Henschel. There is the dive by the 109G onto that Yak. We have the 2 attacks on the Stukas as well, so that's 4 combats. So I've only got 3 spots on the battle display, but I'll shuffle them up a little bit anyway. Right, then I'll transfer all that to the battle display and let's try and see how the combats turn out. So here are our combats. What I've done is the successive squares with the Ju-88 bombers. I've made the able battle, even though they're two separate battles and two separate roles, and then the other two here. So we'll do the Ju-87s first. So our Yak 3 here, we are doing a, despite the climb, I think we should do a speed. Unfortunately, the Yak is just beyond its. Actually, no, it's not. On speed, it should be a 7 going to a 6. So, yeah, I was going to do turn, but actually, yeah, better do speed here. I'll replace that actually. That should be a 7 basic speed, and the climb makes it a 6. And that should be all actually, so it becomes a 6 instead. Now, of course, I'll get to the point where I can't find a 6, but I'll just use that one quickly. So 6 here for the Yak. The Ju-87 is then actually on speed is a 3, which I think is it's still better for the Yak. So we'll work that way. Yeah. So is he a 3? No, in fact he's a 2, of course, because of the bomb load. So I was right first time. Still a 2. Still a 2. Sorry for the confusion here. Thought I'd calculated it in the best possible way. So 6 versus 2 here. No modifiers here because there's no experts, no bouncing, etc. Here, no clouds. So it's just a +4 -4 roll on the table. So we roll on the +4 table for the fire by the Yak. An 8. An 8 on +4 is 2 losses, and the shot back on the -4 table for the Stuka is 12. Great. Ooh, that is 2 losses as well. So 2 losses each. Well shot by the gunner of the Ju-87. The Ju-87s, all the gunners there are very well done. So let's look at the losses. So the Yak 3, that is a firepower of 2, and I don't think there's any modifiers to that, so it's just a +2 on the dice. The Ju-87s, unfortunately, the protection is 4. They're not really great on defence, unlike the Henschel. So 2 rolls, +2 on the dice, looking for greater than 4 for losses. So 5 certainly is a loss, and that is a miss. So just 1 loss on the Ju-87s, and the shot back, which is the Stuka, as a firepower of 0, and the Yaks have a protection of 4. So straight roll against 4. And we get the same result, so 1 loss each. Surprisingly even fight. I'm going to put the loss markers here. Flip that round now to -2 ammo for deplete, and a loss on T. We won't use the -2, of course. We use the -1 for the cohesion. And the cohesion roll. For the Yak 3, we have a loss, which is -1. It was an attacking side, so that cancels that out. And then we had a low ammo marker, so it's a -1 on the dice for the Yak. 5 going to a 4, terrible roll. That is a disruption. And with the Stukas then, that's 1 loss, and so it's -1 as well. A 6 going to a 5. A 5 is just a none, so no disruption there. Okay, that combat's cleared up. Now we've got on to the P39 to that Ju-87. So we've got 6 against 2. I think that is yeah, I think we've made that a speed. Yeah, that's a speed. So it's 6 minus 1's 5 plus 1 for the veteran, so 6. We have the expert, so it's a +1 combat. Ju-87, of course, is a 3 with a bomb load, making it 2. So we've got +4 -4 again, but the Russians have a +1 on the dice. So the P39 Russian attack on the +4 +1. So that's a 5 going to a 6, not very good, only 1 loss. And the shot back on the -4 table for the Stuka is a 7 is nothing, so just 1 loss. I reroll the 1 loss. The P39 has a firepower of 2, and of course the Stuka a defensive 4, but we do have a +1 because we have the expert in the P39 squadron there. So we have a +3 on the dice. 1 + 3 is a 4. Well, that's the worst result, but it is still a straggler, but not a loss. And we will mark, while I remember, the ammo situation here for the P39. A little disappointing there, but cohesion checks for the fighter. No losses. It is a veteran +1. It was attacking side, so +2 on the dice for the P39 squadron's cohesion. It's a pretty awful roll, but it's +2 is a 7 is no disruption. And for the Ju-87 we have no losses, and well, it's just a straight roll. So yeah, just straight roll. A 5 is just no disruption, so both neither are disrupted there. I think the Stukas have come out of that pretty well, actually, considering. So on to this, where the tables are turned. We got the 109G diving onto the Yak in the clouds. So normally the Yak could evade, but because of the speed increase on the 109G, it's got a speed of 7, which is 1 greater as basic speed than the Yak does. So therefore there's no evasion possible. So we have a speed of 6, +1 for the dive, -1 because it's a flight, and then +1 of course because it's veteran, so 7. And then we have a -1 on the dice. We get a +1 for our expert, we get a -2 for the cloud. Here the Yak, quite simple really, it is a 7, but -1 for the green, and we've got a -2 because of the cloud. So here, so the Germans have a +1 with a -1 on the dice, and the Russians are -2 on the dice on the -1. So German roll +1, -1 on the dice. So a 9 going to an 8, 9 going to an 8 is just 1 loss. So we have 1 loss there, and the crackback by the Yak 9s on the -1 table with -2 on the dice. Oh, that's terrible. Double 1. So didn't see it coming at all. So 0 there. So 1 loss on the Yaks, and the firepower of the BF-109 is a 1, and the Yak 9s have a protection of 4. So +1 on the dice, +2 because we have an expert, of course. So +2 on the dice, it's a 3, goes to a 5, that is a loss on the Yak 9. Not a good start. So let's roll cohesion here. The Yak 9, we have a loss, and we also are green, and weren't on the attacking side, so that's a -2 roll. Not a bad roll though. It is a 6 though, and the 6 is a disruption. So we place that. Find a disruption marker. There we go. And of course we have an ammo low marker. We've got another one for the, oh, we already have a marker there for low. It will turn depleted. So an ammo low marker here. And for the 109 here, no loss markers. It is a veteran. It was attacking, so there's 2+1s here. Does have a, oh, I did forget, we've got the weather modifiers as well. That cloud counts. So we did have a 6 which went to a 4 for this, which is still a disruption. So the 109G, we have +1 for veteran, +1 for attacking side, -1 for low ammo, and -2 for the weather. So that comes out as a -1. So this could be difficult for the Germans. Remember, it's only a flight, so one disruption will break it. A 7, sorry, an 8, -1 is to a 7, just survives from that. But of course we have the low ammo marker switching to depleted. So all in all, I think a German result here so far. But we've got probably the big combat here for the Russians. So we have the bouncing LA5 coming in. It's of course I think it may well use turning actually. So the Lavochkin on turn would be a 7, and of course remember that the Henschel doesn't have a defense modifier because it has no gunner, it's just got the pilot. So yeah, if we do the turn, we don't use the dive marker, so it's a 7, -1 for green and -1 for disrupted, so we're a 5. But we do have the +1 for the bounce, so that's 5 with +1. The Henschel, it's got a turn value of 2, and it is being bounced, so it is a -1, and that's all we need to say there. Yeah, so right, so 5 with a +1. Sorry, the colours are a bit inconsistent here. It's whatever colours of those counters I have handy. So yeah, so +3 +1 for the Lavochkin. +3 +1. A 9's a good roll. So that's a 10 on +3. It's 3 losses. Oh, that might hurt. And the Henschel coming back is on the -3 table with -1 on the dice. Yeah, no, that's not going to get anywhere near a loss. So what's that? So there's 3 losses on the Henschel. Now its armor comes into play here, so it's a 5/6 protection. The Lavochkin is a 2 firepower though, and so we've got +2 on the dice, 3 dice rolls against 5/6, +2 on the dice rolls. So 5, 6, 7 is a loss, 3, 4, 5 is a straggler, and we have 1 more loss to roll. A 2, 3, 4 is a miss. So 1 loss, 1 straggler. Not bad, not bad, considering, I think. But it's that armour that's really keeping them in the sky, shall we say. Right, so let's roll the cohesion. So the Lavochkin, it's green, and yes, it is. Yeah, it's green. It has a low ammo marker, so that's -2. It is an attacking squadron, so it's +1, and yeah, that's it. So -1 on the dice, and it is already disrupted here. Let's see, -1 on the dice. Now that's good enough to break it. So the Lavochkin, green Lavochkins have had enough. They've fallen out of formation or something. Of course, let's move our this ammo marker over, and let's see how the Henschels are doing here. So we've got 2 loss markers here, so that's -2, and that's the only roll. So -2 on the dice. Oh, terrible, terrible. However, on the bomber cohesion table, the worst is 1 level of disruption, so it is only disrupted. Right. Okay. So yeah, I still think that's pretty positive for the Germans here. The bombers haven't taken too much losses here, and the Russians are starting to fall apart or disorganize, certainly. So I'll move this back to the table, and we'll just have a look at see how it looks. Right, back as we were. However, I just realised I forgot something, because our 2 Yak squadrons actually went through the barrage. So I need to do those rolls. I know they're a bit late. Doesn't really affect Q because nothing else happened to him. However, P here, I think, is it P? No, R. Actually did have a combat, but oh well. Missed it. Sorry about that. Right, so the flak rolls here. We have a barrage strength of 0. That's our value here. It's an L0. So the barrage value of 0. We're on the flak table. The flak unit strength is actually +1 because it went through 2 squares of flak. So we got a +1 on the dice, but that's all. So a dice roll for R. Roll that. Dice roll for R. A 6. +1 is a 7. That's no effect. And Q here, exactly the same. +1 on the dice, even less. So no effect. So all okay. Was a bit of a stuff up, but yeah, came out with no change. Good. Okay, so on our administrative phase, I'm not sure we're going to move any vectors because there aren't any vectors. Everybody spotted something. Should we move the barrage markers? I think. Now this is difficult now because we've got the Henschels coming in here and the Stukas coming in here. So what's our poor little light flak guy supposed to do? I think if we move our display there, I think we should. It can only be here or here. So we're covering this tank or these troops. I think we will cover these troops here because that's definitely a target for the Ju-87 unless it's coming down the flak itself. So at least we will get the Stukas here. If we were here, then the Henschels could attack this tank here and it still won't help. So yeah, I think the percentage play there for the barrage is here. So that's how we'll leave it. I've also I've escaped the other broken units, the 109s and the Lavochkins on each side. Note we now have a new broken unit, which is the last Lavochkin, which I think supposed to do pretty well for a green unit. Managed to bounce and do some damage to the 129s, but they're pretty much there with the tanks, so the strafing will happen next turn. Also, we'll have the dive bombing, of course, for the Ju-87s, and our FW-190s aren't that far away; they're just here. So yeah, it's interesting. I think it's turned a little bit into the Germans' favour because I think I was expecting the bombers to be a little bit more messed up than they actually are. But let's see what happens next turn. So on to turn 7 for the next video, and as always, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.